And that chart's probably a little tough to read, but this is something, this is what GFMS, I think, puts out and says an aggregate investment demand over 9 years was 293 million ounces. Now, we happen to be a big owner of silver in our various funds. In fact, it's our biggest investment. Maybe I'll just divert for 1 second speaking about the biggest investment, because I have lots of investors that come from around the world. And one of the things that I do successfully is I focus in on things. And I get deep into things that I like, and I don't worry about diversification, which I think it's described to Warren Buffett. He describes it as diversification. And I don't believe in diversification. I believe in if you think that's where you go there. And so, for example, in our long side of our funds, we're well through 70% involved in the precious metals area. And it doesn't bother me to have that percent. For me, I'm probably 70 or 80% in gold. It doesn't bother me. I just know that that's the place you got to be. Back to the supply and demand. Here we have that. So they show that there's 293 million ounces of silver has been bought by investors. And because I know what we've bought, and because I follow other people who sell silver, we questioned that data. And here's what we found out when, this is our own information, when we went to only, I think there's 7 different people there. The iShell Silver Trust, Central Fund, the Zurich Bank, us, ourselves, the UK ETF's Gold Money, which is a company run by James Turk, probably a lot of you are aware of it, and Claymore, which is also getting, we come up with silver holdings of 519 million, which is more than what the GFMS data shows. That's just 7 people. Imagine if they counted you guys, who all own silver too, which obviously they haven't. So the fact is that I think the data on silver have been very, very misstated, as I believe the data on gold have always been misstated. And it's funny, as I was listening to Bud, I've been a student of the gold market, and I got into the gold business when I read the 1998 gold book by Frank Veneroso. Big book. I was kind of worried about the market, and this book came out, and the book said, you know, the 32,000 tons that the central banks own, they probably only own 16,000 tons then. And I kind of bought into it. And of course, now we've gone 11 years since then at about 400 tons, or 400 to 500 tons a month. So those cupboards are got to be getting pretty skinny. And you know, some of those guys looking in the cupboards now, like all the guys signed up to the WAG agreement, they're not selling anymore. They're not selling an ounce anymore. And I think that various parties have had to step in to breach the non-selling by the normal banks, and we saw the IMF agree to sell 400 tons this year, which they have 88 left, and it will go fast. We saw the BIS come in and swap, I think it was 320 tons of gold about 2 months ago. There was a rumor that some of the purchasers in London demanded physical gold, and there was a shortage of gold. So it can happen in gold, and one of the statistics that I fully agree with that Bud had up there is the availability of gold versus silver. And I use a number of $6 trillion, the amount of gold that's available in the world. And the amount of silver that's available in the world is about $20 billion, 22 billion. There might be 1 billion ounces of silver at 22 bucks, 22 billion, of which the ETFs already own half. And between you guys and us, we probably own the other half, which means there's nothing left.